Da 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 da.
Okay, so we just finished watching the communication techniques video, and we're going to talk about it, role play it, and then hopefully this is the last video we have to make. Alright. Okay, so identify different forms of verbal and non-verbal communication that happened in the video.
Well, I think it's obvious that nonverbal communication is when he was pushing people.
I also think nonverbal communication, the CTRS in this situation, was very standoffish.
Was that the therapist or the coach?
The coach was the CTRS.
Yeah,
and then
so
the therapist was the therapist.
Okay, so the CTRS didn't seem like he really wanted to help, like, teach and learn, like, help him learn in the situation. He kind of just wanted to, like, push him off to somebody else.
His nonverbal communication communicated that he didn't want to be there.
It kind of seemed like he was more interested on fulfilling the activity than helping the client.
What do you think, Kelsey?
Yeah. I like what Morgan said.
I think
about fulfilling the activity rather than like caring about the behavior. Because I feel like when you're facilitating an activity as a TRS, you're watching and observing to see if they're achieving their goals, to see if they're progressing. And if you see something like misbehavior or like misconduct or like disrespect going on during the game, like you're going to want to resolve that in a non-harmful way. And he just kind of approached it more aggressively and demeaning. And so like that's not going to benefit their goals at all. So like this TRS was very much like jobs before people, and that's wrong.
That kind of goes along with what the second question is. It says identify what the therapist did well, what the therapist did poorly. I think what the therapist did well, to kind of hit on that, is at the end he invited him back to play. Like he came back and he's like, hey, we're glad you're back, which I think was a really great thing, because sometimes I think when people get in a situation like that or they feel reprimanded or things like that kind of happen, they can be very standoffish and not want to participate in it. Yeah. Even though it might be something that they really like. So I think it was good of him to like personally go up to him and be like, hey, we're glad you're back, and give him a jersey. Like, I think that was something he did well. I think something he did very, very poorly was yelling. Like, not that we can't be firm, but the yelling was like super uncalled for. Yeah.
I also think that I didn't really follow like why he went to the psychologist, but I do think if I'm interpreting this right, like if the TRS felt uncomfortable like handling that situation, like going to somebody else for help, I think that's a good thing, and I think that's a right thing to do. Like honestly, if I worked with Sister Greenwood and like there was a situation like the situation she talked about in class the other day, I would definitely be like, hey, will you help? Like I can't handle this on my own, you know?
And I think like asking for help, like I don't think it was necessarily a bad thing that he was like, hey, go see doctor, whatever her face was. And like, because there was like an underlying, you know, issue, but I think he should have pulled him aside and talked to him first.
Yeah.
Instead of just directly send, like,
that's a good point. Or like escorting him.
Yeah. Or, you know, maybe like talking with him before and then doing it.
You guys have an interview appointment?
We're just about done.
Okay, so we'll be done at 2?
Yeah, we should be done here soon.
Sweet. I'm going to take this room, okay?
Okay, sounds good. So that's what I think he did well. For items the therapist did poorly, what are some better alternatives? I think we kind of talked about that. Could be not yell and maybe talk to the person beforehand before just directly sending him to somebody else.
Precisely.
The last one says role play. How to communicate with this client regarding the situation from the video. With your group members, as you do so, role play the following, which are the 3 things we talked about. So, I was the CTRS last time, so I will be the person.
Okay. Oh gosh. That freaks me out.
Okay.
I can be the CTRS unless you want to be.
I feel like I should redeem myself. I feel like I won't be good at it.
Do it. It's okay. We're students. We don't have to be perfect at it.
But you guys are way better at it than I am.
It's because we're actors.
It's because we're good at messing around and making stuff up on the spot. Okay.
All right.
You didn't see him. He kept pushing me.
Yeah, I'm not good at this.
How about she starts off?
How about I whisper there? Okay, try it.
He just kept pushing me. You didn't even see it.
Oh, I'm sorry that I didn't see how he was treating you.
Yeah, well, aren't you gonna call him out?
I would love to chat with him. I feel like it's really important to be able to talk with everybody on the field and make sure they feel like the game is going well. Make sure
He
they.
kept pushing me though, and it's just not fair. Like I didn't do that to him, and then I'm the one who gets called out.
How does it make you feel when he pushes you?
Well, I'm kind of mad that no one noticed it. Like this is a game, and we're trying to win here, and I keep feeling like he's like pushing me around.
That's not a good feeling, huh? I don't like it when I feel like that. Well, maybe we can work on that. Maybe we can talk with him. Maybe we can meet all as a team and say, hey, like, we could have a lesson on respect and how we should treat each
Yeah,
other.
he needs to respect.
Yeah. How do you? Where do you feel like you learned respect?
I think it's just something that you need to learn.
No, but like, how did you learn it growing up?
Obviously, my dad.
Yeah, your dad taught you?
Yeah.
That's cool. Is
You
your dad
must not have a good dad.
Oh, I don't think that's a fair judgment to make. It's
Well, he
definitely
doesn't
not
know
our place
respect.
to judge. Well, I think maybe he does have respect, but maybe he just got a little caught up in the game. It's a competitive game, right? And
Yeah, it is.
Obviously-
And no one called him out.
yeah. Well, maybe I can chat with him.
Yeah.
But would
someone
you-
should.
Would you be willing to try and have a greater respect for your teammates and for the people on the other team as well?
As long as they have a greater respect for me.
Well, let's go. Let's go out and just assume the best of everyone. Like let's just assume if they do shove us, let's think, oh, they must really be excited to make this point, rather than taking it personally and thinking, oh, they must really have it out to get me.
I want to make the point too, though. Like we wanted to win the game, but they just not fair.
Okay, pause. I'm trying my best.
I think what you should have done is just be like, I totally get it. Like it sucks. Like I feel like you're really worked up right now. Let's just take it back for like a minute. How about I walk you down to Dr. What's-Her-Face's office? That's how I would have finished it.
Okay.
If you couldn't have like gotten to a point with the person.
Yeah. Whenever I work with you as a client, you always bring up more things, and I'm just like, please stop.
I think like
When
at that
does
point
this end?
it's like a good. Well, I just keep trying to egg it on to make it longer. I think it'd be a good thing to just be like, hey, like, let's take a walk. Let's take a break from the situation. Let's walk down to Dr. For the doctors, and you could talk to them.
Okay. I also feel like we did better at like approaching it in a calm situation, and some of the other things we talked about, just like being more respectful, being more informative.
Yep.
We good? Do you think this is our
I
last
think
video?
that's it. It says after that, at the conclusion of your discussion, stop the recording.
Da 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 da.